What's up, guys? Hockey fans. I thought this could be a fun one because I don't really know the rules that well. I don't know this channel either. So we're getting two new things. He gets a lot of views, I've noticed, like tons. So I'm guessing he's well loved. And it's the new rules, and I don't really understand the rules. So I'm going to learn the rules and then see the changes. Before we get into this, I was going to let you know I've been getting videos blocked left, right, and center. And unfortunately, it is going to change the way that I do it. I was doing 7 days a week a new reaction leading up to the playoffs for the couple of months. That's a lot. When you're doing 7 days a week and you lose a video, it's not the end of the world. I've cut that back to focus on doing some editing and stuff like that. And now I'm doing 2 to 3 videos a week. And then if 2 of those get blocked, like happened this week, well, now it's a bigger problem. So unfortunately, it's really affecting what I'm looking at doing because, it's annoying and disappointing when I make something and you don't get it. And that definitely includes the NHL. So, yeah, NHL, I'm not big fans of letting a lot of videos through. So, anyway, let's find out what this is. And I'm just letting you know where I'm at with that. Okay.
I'm not going to talk the NHL draft tonight. As the time I'm recording this, they're still going through the first round. And
a few of you have been letting me know about the changes. Obviously, mine has gone to the Knights. Yeah, a lot of the other changes I'm up on top of. So thank you guys for keeping me up to date.
Thank God they've got 1 year of this format. We'll talk that tomorrow when we know more, but today I wanted to give a general roundup of some of the news across the NHL, and there was a lot. First of all, if you're a fan of hockey, I've got great news. It doesn't appear like we're headed for another lockout anytime soon. That's not surprising. The league is growing quickly right now. The money is flowing. So on that note, the NHL and the NHLPA have agreed to a CBA extension until 2030. Now, it isn't official.
I was going to say, why would they run the risk of a lockout? But I have heard about how there was a lockout before, and that's what brought in like some changes. So, I didn't even know that was like a current risk, though. Wow.
Actually, yet the players and the owners both have to vote to ratify the agreement, but practically things are good. Keep in mind, we're still over a year away from when the CBA would have expired. So, what's new? What's changed?
So we're good. We're getting hockey next season.
The most impactful thing will be that the regular season is getting 2 more games.
Yeah, I thought this is fascinating that they're adding games because to me, it was already fascinating. When I learned, I had no idea how many games they play in a season. It's crazy, and then they're going to add to it.
Team now plays 84 regular season games, and they're losing 2 preseason games, although I personally think the preseason could be reworked entirely. What's the purpose for the change? Well, for one, more revenue. The NHL is a gate-driven league, so more games, more money. But with 84 games, the NHL can, if they choose, also clean up the schedules a bit. Each team could play 4 games against each divisional opponent, 3 games against each conference non-divisional opponent, then 2 games against every other team in the NHL. That's 20.
All right, that sounds quite clean. And I'm kind of surprised that they're saying it's a gate-driven sport because the arenas aren't sort of like any comparison in size to what you're getting like at stadiums and things like that. That's actually quite interesting to me.
28, 24, 32 for 84 total games. Keep in mind the current CBA extends through the end of next season, so the 84 game change, as with all the changes I'm going to mention, starts in 26-27. So that's a big one. Okay. Another change comes around player contracts. The way it works right now is players can sign a max 7-year contract as a UFA, 8 years if they're re-signing with their current team, which is why we see sign-in trades. I remember when there was no...
Marner signed for 8 years with the Vegas Knights, correct? People keep telling me it's an 8-year deal. 8 if it's... Huh? Oh, wait, is this going to be a change? So they've removed... Wait, okay, I'm so sorry. Let me just play this again.
Now is players can sign a max 7-year contract as a UFA, 8 years if they're re-signing with their current team, which is why we see sign-in trades. I remember when there was no limit. We saw Ovi get that 13-year contract extension. Rick DiPietro had 15 years. Anyway, the current max contracts are being dropped by 1 year.
Yo, thanks for including that in this little clip, Eck.
So 6 or 7 if you're re-signing with your current team. I'm gonna say I'm
Whoa.
not really
Dude, he's got some
sure,
great
and I gotta
clips
read
here.
more kind of analysis on this. Who this benefits
I'm gonna pay attention to
more,
what he's saying, because
longer
we're seeing some good
contracts are
stuff
something
here.
the average player really fights for. They want that 7-year deal.
Yeah, you want
and
security.
I think general managers don't want to be forced into longer contracts because that's the norm, although they also like locking up their superstars. NHL players probably
it's a
see
bit of
the
a trade
potential
there.
for inflationary contract values with that 1 year gone. So I guess that's the rationale. It could be that the owners got this in exchange for something. Who knows? Either way, there will be more impacts on team construction from this CBA. The big one is that the LTIR playoff loophole is being plugged. I'll look more into it, but it seems like there will be both a playoff salary cap and changes to how the LTIR cap relief works during the regular season. We're not going to get in the technicalities for today's video. I need to do
Long-term
more reading,
injury?
but just know that's going to change. The other big change to how the cap will work in terms of team construction is that they're essentially removing double salary retention on trades. So now if you trade a player with salary
I don't know what this is, but that sounds bad.
retained, you have to wait 75 days to trade the player with retained salary again. For those who don't know, I'll briefly explain.
Okay,
so
interesting.
right now, the rule is that when you're trading a player, a team can retain up to 50% of their salary. So basically, if a non-contending team is trading a player to a contending team, for example, they can keep 50% of their salary because they're probably not as worried about hitting up against the cap in exchange for assets like draft picks or even another player. This is one way teams
Oh, that's interesting. I feel like that could be abused.
also try to get out of bad deals. Yeah, this player's not great on our team. We can't get rid of their contract, but we can move him if we're willing to retain some salary. However, especially near the trade deadline, you'd sometimes see double retentions where a third team is brought in to also hold 50% of the remaining salary. So essentially, the team which ultimately ends up with the player gets the contract for 25% of its value. So the trading team will hold 50%. The team which briefly has the player has 25. They typically also get some assets, and it's really just a way to work with the cap.
Let's just
is
clean
being
that up.
broken by this rule. I don't really like that. I enjoy the cap manipulations on.
Wait, pro cap manipulation like that? Doesn't sound right to me as an outsider. Let's put it that way.
Honestly. All right, just to end off, for some reason, this is going to be controversial. I don't think it should be. Neck guards are being mandated for NHL players. They're doing it the same way they did helmets and visors. They're being grandfathered in. Anyone who joins the league after the end of next season,
It's really interesting that they do that grandfathering
whatever,
in.
but anyone new to the league starting in 26-27 will have to wear the neck guard. I think it's a no-brainer, and I actually think neck guards can look good too. There's some good options out there. Anyway, those are the CBA changes. These will
Seems
have
fun
a
to
big
me, but I'm not a
impact on
player.
team construction and more over the next few years. So let me know your thoughts down below. And let me know what you think about the reduction to max contract length specifically.
Good breakdown, Eck. I appreciate that. Yeah, the most interesting thing out of that for me is the salary cap abuse, or like the little trickery you can do around it. That's very interesting. That is interesting. And it's also interesting that they, or Eck at least, would like to retain it. Well, let me know what you think about these changes. Are you excited for? Oh, of course you're excited for the next season. Come on now. Yeah, but thanks, like I said, for people who've been keeping me up to date on the goings on. So yeah, it's going to be good moving into the next season. I'll be able to see a lot of teams that I never have even seen compete once. So that's going to be great. All right. Oh yeah, and I've heard the Canadians making some good moves. They sound like they're going to be a strong team. All right. Peace out, my friends. Oh yeah, wait. Get over to kick.com/fightingsloth. We have a blast. Nobody ever be coming over from these videos. Be different. Support your friend. Peace.